More pleasant, more pleasant. That was a little bit too close. But in the end, you got the job done. Yeah, people, welcome back to Jump Hill Fun, and this is the review of Mount Pleasant versus Universidad O&M in the second leg of the Concacaf Caribbean Cup. People, can I tell you, just being in that stadium again, going through the same nerve-wracking end to a match like we saw in Jamaica versus Curacao, wasn't exactly a nice feeling until the final whistle came. But let's just start off, of course, with the starting lineup with what Coach Tupper Whitmer went with this time. I thought he would only make one change from the team that went to Don Rep last week. Instead, we got three changes. Demaria Phillips left from right back onto the bench, which meant that Kyle Ming slide over to that side, and Jamari Tope came in to partner Cummins. As for the midfield, I was very surprised to see the CDM Thomas on the bench, but his compatriot Saint Fleur came in to partner Anglade in the middle of the park. And then I thought Coach Tupper made the right choice by starting Edwards over Warner Brown. No, when the game started, it was your typical final. Both teams started out fully cagey, and nothing much was really being kept on the ground into any substantial pattern of play. It was a bit jarring to see more players like this. I guess they were like this in the first leg as well, but this is not the type of more players that we have come to used to, when they were kind of playing a bit of helter-skelter and a lot of aimless long balls over the top. While O&M, as the first half went along, they got more and more comfortable on the ball. I was now starting the piece 1 and 2 looks at goal, and I was looking like they were growing in confidence into turn this tie around. But honestly, More Pleasant really looked like a shadow of themselves. It seemed their lead from the first leg was weighing on their mind, and they were more worried of protecting their lead than trying to go out and find a next goal. But thankfully, VAR stepped in and gave them a boost when Bailey was tackled on the touchline and the red card was given to the O&M player. So it seemed God was on More Pleasant's side. They were a man up very early in the first half. But the way they were playing, you'd be very surprised which team was actually down a man. Because More Pleasant, they still couldn't really muster anything on target. They only managed one shot on target in that first half, and it came in the 48th minute. While O&M, as I said to you, this simply looked like they were the better team on the ball, and it was still like they were going to come closer and closer to find something in the back of the net. Of course, if you were top of Whitmore, you would not be pleased with that first half, but he would probably be hoping his experienced team could hold out for the 0-0 entering the first half. And then the mishap happened, a simple ball over the top in acres of space because Gadel Irvin went walking, and I will get to Irvin in a minute. Then the O&M player was facing Chambers 1-on-1. Chambers came off his line a little bit too quickly. I think he realized that and tried to pump the brakes, but then he slipped on the wet surface, and it was an easy finish for the O&M to grab the lead right before halftime. This was a bit disheartening for me in the crowd as well as the rest of the fans. We all thought this was going to be, well, not soup, but we thought we would see a much more classic performance from More Pleasant, while here they are going into the break trailing by 1. It was really not the usual More Pleasant team I'm accustomed to. I was even telling some colleagues in the stands, trust me, this is not Tapas Whitmore's team, and I am not sure what we were looking at. And I don't want to single out any real player because I thought everybody except probably Kimoni Bailey was not playing to the usual stuff, but Irving especially was having a nightmare. And it seemed that Tupper shouted at his players at halftime and made some significant changes, including bringing on Tyrek McGee for Walker, and Warner Brown came into the game for Edwards. And I must tell you, immediately from kickoff, they looked like their usual self again. McGee especially was now getting on the ball, and all of a sudden, the entire team was now looking much more calm on the ball and was now stringing along some good passes. It was as if they finally regained their identity, and all they had to now do is now get that go-ahead goal. But credit to O&M, they never seemed phased. They also seemed like they were still high on confidence and was giving More Pleasant a good game, despite More Pleasant at this point having more of the possession. So much so that Coach Tupper had to go up to his bench once again. He brought off his captain Daniel Green to bring in another striker in Shaquille Bradford, and he also took out Bailey, who I thought was having a great game, and bring on the speedy Raphael Interval on the right hand side. And those two players especially play a key role in finding the equalizer. Bradford got the ball down the left hand channel, sprayed one across the box. The keeper got his hand on it, but More Pleasant had the ball going back towards the empty goal, and then Warner Brown decided to touch the ball at the goal line. The referee immediately flagged for offside, and I'm telling you, we were pissed. We were upset in the stands because we thought it was unnecessary for him to touch it as he was already going in. Thankfully, VAR saw something to bail him and us out. He realized that the player right here was down on the ground, which kept Warner Brown onside, then overruled the offside call, giving More Pleasant that precious goal that they needed. Now from here, I thought it was going to all wrapped up neat and nice. I thought More Pleasant would just say off things just fine, and yet just 5 minutes later, from a simple ball into the box from the set piece and a simple floating header, that saw Chambers unfortunately slipping on the wet surface once again, and the ball just float into the back of the net. Cue the celebrations for O&M, and now all More Pleasant fans were now sweating as it seemed they were going to make this title slip away. And from this point, everybody was at the edge of their seat. We're looking to see More Pleasant once again dominating, camping out in O&M half to see if they can find a breakthrough. And I must admit, as each time the clock ticks down, I was losing more and more confidence. But McGee and Raphael was coming more and more into the game, and then when this good play fired McGee into the box, it seemed everybody in the stadium and in that box froze before McGee decided to try his luck at the near post and beat the keeper to give them a vital second goal of the game and now lead them on aggregate in the tie. But unfortunately, it was not over yet because the O&M did come back towards the end and had some decent chances at goal that almost spoiled the party. But it was not going to be another Jamaica versus Curacao. This time, the home team got the W, and More Pleasant allowed the Caribbean Cup to remain in Jamaica after Cavalier win it all last year. A big congratulations from me here at Jampiel to Topper Whitmer and his men. They got the job done, and they were by far the class team throughout the entire tournament. Also, congratulations to Tough Ride Chambers who picked up the golden gloves, and a special shout out to his coach Andre Sewell. And I must also congratulate Daniel Green, who is the new captain of course and led his team well to pick up the tournament's golden ball. And also congratulations to the More Pleasant fans. You are one of the more passionate fans in the JPL, and you are richly rewarded to finally see your team not only lift a JPL title a couple years ago, but to now taste regional success. It was nerve-wracking there towards the end, but I'm just happy the Caribbean Cup stays here in Jamaica. From here, of course, Mount Pleasant returns to JPL action this weekend, but this victory also gets them into the round of 16 in the Champions Cup, and they will know their potential opponent come this Tuesday when Concacaf will hold the draw. But anyway guys, that's all from More Pleasant taking home the Concacaf Caribbean Cup once more. Again, congratulations to the entire team, and let me know in the comment section below with what you thought of the match. Were you as nervous as the rest of us when you saw that O&M scored that second goal, or were you always believing that they will find a way back? Or like some of the performances of the substitutes like Warner Brown and Tyreek McGee. Otherwise, for great JPL content, you're already at the right place. JPL Fun. YouTube, big up yourself.